Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 395, listener feedback, number 31. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the wonderful folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Got some great new items over there you need to go check out. One of them is the Johnny Lightning Mayberry or Andy Griffith Show squad car. Go check that out. There's a limited quantity. Get one while you can. You can also go and get a Mayberry Deputy badge, but don't miss out on the calendars. We got the 2017 Andy Griffith Show wall calendar that you definitely want to get. So head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 395 is Keith Brown. Colonel Harvey, one of the tribute artists for the Andy Griffith Show that was at Mayberry Days this past weekend. So, Keith, I want to thank you. Thank you for all you do. He also runs the Mayberry community, and I don't know how many of you folks ever go there, but that is a great, great place to go and enjoy yourself and have some fun related to the Andy Griffith Show. It's kind of a Facebook-type place. It's called Mayberry Community. You go to imayberrycommunity.com. You can get there, and there's all kinds of great stuff there at the Mayberry Community. So head over there and check it out. All right, so today we're going to be talking about, or tonight, whenever you're listening to this, listener feedback number 31. So we've got a little bit of, we got a lot of written stuff where people wrote in some things that we wanted to talk about, and one voicemail. So I think we'll go to the voicemail first because that's the easiest one for me to click. I think we have two voicemails, actually. So let's go here from Gino Cuddy first.
Hello there, Mr. Newsom. This is Gino Cuddy, host of the Cable Access program Gino in the Evening, calling in. Just wanted to tell you, I'm new to the whole podcast. I just discovered the podcast and all the forums and everything. And I just want to tell you and everybody else out there in Mayberry Land how huge a fan I am of the Andy Griffith Show. I was just watching Barney's First Car. It's still my favorite episode of the show of all time because it was the first one I ever saw. I'm a 21-year-old autistic male, and I've been a fan ever since I was a little kid. As a matter of fact, Andy was sort of like replacement father for me when my dad died. And when I found out Don Knotts died, I had the biggest temper tantrum in the world, I'm telling you. Andy and Don are two of the all-time greats, I'm telling you. And it's a shame there's not television like that on TV anymore. Just wanted to call and let you know that I love the Andy Griffith Show, and I'll be tuned into the podcast. I've already subscribed. And I'm very interested in seeing the new Andy Griffith Show, the one from the 70s. I'm still trying to look for episodes of that. If anybody knows, can hook me up, let me know. Well, all right, thank you very much for the time, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for calling in. Now, he's talking about the new Andy Griffith Show. There was a podcast I did about that, and I should have looked that up, I guess, talking about the new Andy Griffith Show. Here it is, number 63. Oops, did I click? That was the wrong one. No, 64. 64 is the right number. Episode number 64 of Two Chairs No Waiting is about the new Andy Griffith Show. So if you don't know about that, you might go and check that out. It was a show where Andy played a North Carolina, he was the town, he wasn't the mayor, but he was something like the mayor. What was he? The town's, he ran the town. His name was Andy Sawyer on that show. So if you go back and listen to episode number 64 of Two Chairs No Waiting, it'll give you a little bit about it. So Gino, thanks for calling in, and I really appreciate it. We got one more here from Jason Carter, so let's hear from Jason.
Hey, Alan. Jason Carter from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Just let you know I enjoy the podcast. Keep up the good work. I was watching the show where they went to Hollywood, the color episodes, film the movie about Andy. And I just noticed that the starlet that he's photographed with is the same girl who wrote the article on, the college girl that wrote the article on him back in Andy on Trial. I'm sure a lot of sharp-eyed viewers have already seen this, but I just noticed it, so I thought I'd call you to tell you. Once again, thank you. Have a good day.
All right. So, Jason, that is right. And her name was Ruta Lee, or is Ruta Lee. And she also played Jean Boswell. So she played in Andy on Trial, and she was Darlene Mason on the other episode you were talking about, the Hollywood. is what it's called. Mayberry, the Hollywood episodes. So it's actress. She played both roles. Good catch. Good job. A lot of that information, folks, if you're ever looking for stuff like that, you can find it if you go over to mayberry.info. Mayberry.info is the Mayberry Historical Society. It's really a wiki, kind of like Wikipedia. And you can look up all kinds of things. Those interesting facts, like he found up, were in the Odd Facts Known by Few in the Andy on Trial episode, where it tells you some of that information and gives you information like that about all kinds of folks who appeared on the show and things like that. So you definitely want to head over there and check out the Mayberry.info website. All right, so let's head over here now, and I'll read you some written mail that are related to certain things. So this one is talking about Opie being on Gunsmoke. We had an episode not long ago where I was talking about the characters being on different episodes, and he says, this is Keith Carroll. He says, I'm enjoying the episodes of the podcast. I just wanted to mention that the episode of Gunsmoke, in which Ron Howard starred, the title character, Charlie Noon, was played by James Best. Thought that was an interesting connection. Now, I may have already read this before, but I wanted to make sure it got out there because that is, that I don't know how I missed that as I was looking through the information on those episodes. But thank you so much for making sure we got that in and everybody knew what was going on, because, yeah, that is definitely something that shouldn't have been missed. The fact that James Best was the one on the Gunsmoke episode with Ronnie Howard definitely needed to be brought out. So thank you very much for reminding us about that. Next up, we get into some information about the last few episodes here when we've been talking about Betty Lynn. So talking about Betty Lynn here, he says, this is from RB, talking about the episode number 392 of the Two Chairs No Waiting. He says, great job on the Betty Lynn birthday festivities live reporting. I can barely talk. Thank you for taking the time to allow so many of us to see this great celebration. I can't wait for part 2. So thank you very much as well for just watching and enjoying the show. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Then we have, this is a very nice written piece of information. I'd love it if you guys called in instead of just typing it in, but this is pretty cool. So this is from Kevin Harrison. He says, I'll try to keep this brief, but I recently found your podcast about a year ago and have now listened to every episode. Wow. And that's a whole lot of listening. So thank you very much, Kevin. I've learned so much about the show that I love. A few weeks ago, I finally got an opportunity to visit Mount Airy, North Carolina for the first time with my family, and it blew me away. I wasn't for sure what to expect, but it exceeded my expectations. There were some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet there in Mount Airy. There were more than one occasion where my family would be walking down the sidewalk and someone sitting on the porch or out in front of a store would stop and they'd talk to us for 10 or 15 minutes, just telling us about the history of the town, about old houses and etc., other things like that. I'd have to say, though, that getting to go to Floyd's Barbershop was one of my favorite experiences. Getting to meet Bill Hyatt was a true joy. I only wish I could have had an opportunity to meet his father, Russell Hyatt. Everyone there was genuine, and I would love to move there someday, although my wife may have something to say about that, since we are from Missouri. Anyways, I wanted to let you know I appreciate your podcast, and thanks so much, and God bless. And that's from Kevin Harrison. So, Kevin, that is great report. I just got back from Mount Airy. Last weekend was Mayberry Days 2016. So I just got back last night, actually. And it is a friendly town, a great place to visit. And I hope everybody gets to do that as much as possible because, it is really fun to go there, especially sometime in your life. I want you to try to plan to be able to go to Mayberry Days. It's a special event. The sooner the better, but it was a special event. So going back, we just talked about, these are some comments from YouTube. This is one about the episode number 392, Betty Lynn's 90th birthday celebration, part 1. Karen Lowell wrote in and said, fantastic video. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. Now, if you guys hadn't seen that, what I did was I did live reports from Facebook. I'd never done Facebook Live before, but I used video to record myself. I do 2 or 3 minute little spots. And throughout the day of Betty's birthday, the 29th of August, I reported what was going on there in Mount Airy. And it actually went very well. I'd never done that before, so it was a fun experience. So I had so much information, I had to do 2 episodes about it completely. And episode 393 is also about that. And Steve Douglas said, wow, what a sweet gift from the Howard brothers. Now, what he's talking about there is there was a video that was sent to Betty from Ron Howard and his brother Clint Howard. That's Opie and little Leon. They sent Betty a birthday wishes, and that really was special. So if you haven't seen those episodes or listened to them, I encourage you to head over and watch or listen to episodes number 392 and 393, because those were fun days, very fun. Now, another episode that people talked about on YouTube, because they're watching the video versions of this podcast, this one is from episode number 389, Mayberry Folks on Radio. And Greg Edmonds says, remember, on the original Andy Griffith Show, male cast members and most other men of the time period, including myself and those in my family, used the wet hair tonics like Vitalis and Brill Cream. These might have made Andy's hair appear darker. Thanks to your efforts, and genuinely enjoy the show. So I'm not sure that's the right episode or video that number goes with, because I think what he's talking about is the episode when we were discussing Andy's hair, because there's one episode where we had a caller that had called in. I think it was probably episode 390. It's probably that episode, which is listener feedback 32, where we talked about Andy's hair getting gray very quickly after the Andy Griffith Show. And I think he's referring to the fact that they used that wet look, which was some kind of a like Brill Cream or something like that in their hair, that made Andy's hair look darker. So Greg, thanks for taking time to write in and appreciate it. Let's see. We also have one from episode number 386. It's Mayberry Books You Need. That was a podcast episode. That's what it was called. And Lisa, she wrote in and she said, I'm so happy I found you. I'm a huge fan of the Andy Griffith Show. Thank you so much, she says, for doing all this stuff about the club. I didn't know about it. Oh, wow. So that's great. Folks, that's one of the things that I was talking about a lot about during Mayberry Days, is there are so many people out there who don't know about all the fun things that is available to them, that the things that are available to them related to the Andy Griffith Show. They don't know about imayberry.com. They don't know about Mayberry Days. They don't know about this podcast. There's so many things that they just don't know, and they're missing out. We have got to get the word out to them. Thank goodness, Lisa, at least you got the word. So I'm glad to hear back from you. I hope you found some of that useful about Mayberry Books You Need. That's number 386, if you guys would like to go back and hear it. Now, going back a little further, episode number 360, that was a Neil Brower interviewing Bruce Bilson, part 1. I got this from a guy. The post is from Eagle 13 is his name. Eagle 13. He says, Bruce is my brother-in-law, and what you see is exactly how he is. A real nice fella, is what he says. Talking about Bruce Bilson. So that is great. I didn't see this before, but it was from Bruce's brother-in-law. Great job. Also talking here, next one up is about episode number 370. It was the one about Earl Hagen and the music of Mayberry. And someone called O. Hayes wrote this in. He says, you are doing an important archival work with these podcasts. Earl Hagen deserves more legitimate releases, and his Andy Griffith Show music should get a boxed set. And he says, in my opinion, his score for season 4's A Prisoner of Love starring Susan Oliver, is his best work. The use of the main theme and its variations are on par with the film work of Bernard Herrmann. It also incorporates variations of the Andy Griffith Show theme and the Manhunt theme. Hagen later adapted his Prisoner of Love score for a season 8's episode, Andy's Trip to Raleigh. The only other time his beautiful Susan Oliver theme was used in the series. I didn't know that. Great job. Thank you. Hagen completely rescored his earlier work, and a new recording was made especially for this episode. It includes a couple of new strings as well as a result, and a longer variation of the piano piece formerly used in the brief Prisoner of Love Aunt B appearance. I'm going to upload both episodes into the queue for individual suites into my channel. So he's checking it out. So please take some time to look at it, he's telling. Thank you so much. And it is from Oh Hayes. Great job. He is obviously a music connoisseur. So great job with him catching that. I'd never noticed that. So that's something for you musicians. You might want to go back and check that out. Now, that's all the feedback that I have available to me. So I have one more thing I'm going to play for you. And this is not really feedback, but I thought it was kind of fun. This was at Mayberry Days this year, 2016. And this was recorded at the Emmett, which is the golf tournament that's held on Thursday of the Mayberry Days event. And it's held at the Cross Creek Country Club. And we have several of the tribute artists that are there. And we try to greet all the golfers and visit with them and just have a little bit of fun as they play golf and we stand around and visit. So as part of that, we thought we might do this little video so that everyone would enjoy themselves. And I don't think you need video for this, but I can tell you who's in it. It's Floyd the Barber and Gomer Pyle, Goober Pyle, and Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler, you know, the guy who sprays the aphids and everything at Aunt B's house, and Andy does all the work. So it's all of them, and I hope you're going to enjoy this. Hopefully the audio part sounds good, because basically Gomer's going to give his, well, you'll hear it, his rendition of what's wrong with Barney's car. But let's go ahead and let them take away. So, Floyd, you take it away, okay?
All right, folks, we're here at Mayberry Days at the golf tournament. Got my friends with me. I got Gomer and Goober and Mr. Wheeler. We're all having a good time here in Mayberry. What's been going on, Goober?
Oh, we've been busy.
Yeah.
And then I had Gomer come by and brought Barney's car that he just bought.
Oh,
you
yeah.
should hear all the stuff he found wrong with it.
Oh, he found something wrong with Barney's car? What was wrong with it?
Well, me and my boss, Wally, we went through her with the finest tooth comb as you can find. But she's going to need plugs, points, bearings, valves, rings, starter switch, ignition wires, water pump, fuel pump, oil pump, clutch plate, clutch bearings, brake line, brake shoes, brake drums, radiator hose, and radiator hose coupling.
Oh, my goodness.
And I give her a good wash, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't tell him that. That's going to be bad. Oh, that's good. Well, I could wash it. That's good. Well, how's everything been going at the gas station then?
Good. But you heard? I heard Aunt B's she's gonna start taking up mechanics.
Aunt B is?
Yeah.
What's she gonna do?
Said something about putting a rear end in a recliner.
That's a good one.
Yeah, speaking of Aunt B,
Yeah.
Mr. Wheeler, you been spraying anymore?
Yeah, she got the hots.
Yeah,
for me.
you're a little sweet on there. Yeah, you been spraying the bugs over
Yeah,
there?
I come down and spray all these little yellow bugs right here, and the folks won't let me leave.
They won't let you leave.
No,
Did they
won't
ever
let
give
me.
you an onion for your soup?
Never got the onion, but
Oh, that's
I'm
terrible.
gonna do the roofing. I'm gonna paint the porch.
You got,
Where's Andy?
yeah, Aunt B's been bringing in some lemonade and stuff too.
Andy been talking about matrimony. I'm leaving.
I'd get out of there then. Yeah. Well, folks, we hope you can make it down here to Mayberry Days because we're all having a good time. We know you would too. We'll see you later.
Don't burn out your.
So don't burn out your distributor is what Goober was saying. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed just hearing that, even if you couldn't see it. But if you could see it, it's a little bit better. We were able to do that. So I had done those live reports from Betty Lynn's birthday, and people had wanted me to be able to do live events during Mayberry Days. Well, as many of you hopefully know, I do Floyd the Barber as well. So I don't remember if I told everybody. I'm Alan Newsom, by the way. I don't remember if I said that at the beginning of the show, but I do Floyd the Barber as the tribute artist. That's who I dress up as at these Mayberry events. Well, Floyd can't really be running around with a cell phone out and doing video reports or any kind of reports like that. That kind of takes away the magic of the whole event. So I didn't do that. But in this particular case, we were standing around at the golf tournament and we were by ourselves. And so we thought this would be a fun thing to do, to have here on the podcast. And it was posted on Facebook as well, inviting people out to Mayberry Days. So I definitely want to invite you all out to Mayberry Days next year. So make plans to be there. You got to go. Mayberry Days is an amazing event. So folks, that's all I have for you this evening or today, whenever you're listening to this. Sorry it's not quite as polished a show as normal because I'm just getting back from Mayberry Days, but I wanted to get the word out to you guys, just what was going on, and welcome all those folks that may have been at Mayberry Days and found out about the podcast and came today. Please go back and listen to some of the other episodes of the show because I know you're going to love them. Some of them that were talked about today, just head back. There's an episode list. If you go to twochairsnowaiting.com, click on episode list, you can see every episode that we've done. And you can also check out Burke on Mayberry. I met up with Kevin Burke at Mayberry Days as well, who does Burke on Mayberry. So we had a great time talking about podcasts with each other and just visiting and having some fun. So, folks, I am going to let you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself and will join us again right here on Two Chairs No Waiting next time. I'd love to hear from you in the meantime. Maybe a voicemail if you call me at 888-684-8415, or you can just email me and I'll try to read it off like I did. You can drop by twochairsnowaiting.com and leave messages there. However you would like to get in touch with me, even if it's by email, I'm Floyd at imayberry.com. It's easy to get in touch with me. I love hearing from you. Next week, we're going to probably be doing some really fun stuff. I've got several things right here in my hand that I'm hoping to be able to use. Woo, it's going to be good. So drop back next week, and we'll see you right here on Two Chairs.